from, let's see, unassigned. Okay, here we go. Migration from Windows 7 to Windows 10. I'm going to assign ticket to myself. It's from MD Alam. Thank you. You've submitted a lot of tickets for me. I really appreciate it. Gives us a lot more to talk about, and this is definitely a new one. Which is the common migration from Windows 7 to Windows 10 in a business environment? Please tell A to Z step by step, which is going to help many people. Oh, my pleasure. Okay, so I'm going to get right into it, and I'm going to go to a reply to customer here, so that way we can get a reply right away. We can keep it going, and I'm going to say below are some things that can be done to migrate from old OS to new. So whether it's whatever the OS is, right? In this case, it's Windows 7 to Windows 10 in a business environment. So number one, usually you'd do this over the network. So you would schedule these processes to happen over the network, meaning basically you just have a web page, and then within that web page, you can schedule many computers and many things to start to reimage or to what it's called reload. That's what it's called in at the work that where I'm at, and it's called reload. What that does it would reinstall the operating system, but it would also give you an option to make sure that all local profile data is saved. Very important. If you just do Windows install, a clean install, it's going to erase everything. But if you do Windows reload in a business environment, it's going to give you an option to keep those profiles. You can select which profiles to keep, literally. It's really cool. Now, that's the best way of going about it. Now, if you're doing this yourself and you're upgrading, for example, in this case, Windows 7 to Windows 10, you will get an option to update to Windows 10 rather than do a clean install, which should also keep your local profiles, local documents, and this and that. So only specifically that. It's not going to attempt to keep anything else, maybe some configuration date, but that's the safe bet. So in case you didn't know, local profile is in your local C under users. So in my case, I'm logged in as Kobuman right now, and that's what I use in my profile: documents, favorites, downloads. Any files that are saved inside of that are going to stay over. So you can do a reload. Of the computer, which is also done when there are issues with the operating system. So if it's already Windows 10, you can still do a reload, which will reinstall and keep. So this is a system that allows you to do that. Now it's going to be different in different environments. This is what happens in a big corporate environment that I work in right now, and I'm going to say which is going to keep any data from local profile. So that's one option. Let me see if I can think of other options, which is the common migration from Windows 7 to Windows 10 business environment. Please tell A to Z step by step. Now, Windows 7 actually has a tool that you can utilize. It's called profile migration. That's exactly what it lets you do. You can actually merge or move your profile from the old computer to a new one. So that's an option if you have a second computer that you want to, and this is basically done manually. Windows 10 doesn't have that tool, I don't think, but you can basically, what happens on Windows 7 machine, you open it up, you tell it, hey, I want to migrate my profile to Windows 10, and it will save that data, and then later on, it will allow you to connect and transfer that data over the network to the new computer. So you can transfer that profile like that. I'm sorry, I don't have Windows 7 installed because it's just an old OS that I haven't used in many years now. And so that's another option, but let me see. We'll just kind of go over this, which is common migration from Windows 7 to Windows Business. Okay. So the other ways is, I guess I started listing what you could do. So I'm just going to leave it at that, but I will explain kind of what it looks like. I'm going to say, and I know he will watch this, my video on steps. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. So what happens in my environment, I go to this web page that lets me basically get access to all of these computers that are connected to that network. With this information, or with this web page, I need to get information on all of those computers. So let me just do a notepad here real quick. And we're going to do a pretend step by step, just like as requested, right? So we're going to have a bunch of computers. We're going to have a computer with a host name that's called computer 1, and then we're going to have another one, computer 2, then we're going to have a computer 3. Computer 3 and etc, meaning etc, etc, etc. You can have, I don't know what the limit is. I want to say 100. Let's say 100. So you can take these computer host names or computer names, also known as workstation names, that are already assigned and assigned to those computers, and you can literally access them like this. Copy, and then you go to the website, and then you pull them up, and you can see all of these computers that are connected to the network. They have to be connected to the network because you have to be able to ping them. And then you can see what their status is. From there, you can individually schedule them if you want, this and that. Now, you can also do this with serial numbers. So you can say serial 1, serial 2, serial 3, and etc, right? So you can do this with serial numbers only. Network will see, these systems that are designed for this, to do this in a massive amount, will see this. They will be able to find serial numbers of computers that are connected to the network. And from there, you can do the same thing, just like as I explained previously. You can schedule these computers to start to re-image. So where is this data coming from? Usually, network itself will have a individual and randomly placed computers that are already on network. So let's say you have cubicles. Let me see if I have something to write with. Paint? Is it Paint? Yeah. I hardly ever use Paint, but that's okay. So where is the information coming from when it comes to the data for the operating system? And where is it downloaded? It's not like it's all downloaded. Whenever I schedule any of these computers to start installing the operating system, it's not like it's pulling the data for the operating system or anything else, or for backups. It's not pulling it up from a server that's specifically designed for that. There might be one or two there, but what's actually happening is that on the network there are, let's say these are cubicles, right? These are cubicles in an office, right? Sorry, I'm terrible at writing here or drawing here, and I'm doing it with the mouse, so it's really hard. And each has a PC, right? Each of these cubicles has a PC, and I'm gonna call it, can I draw this properly? PC 2, PC 3, and I'm just gonna say this 4 and 5, right? All of these cubicles, all these desks have a computer on them. So if I wanted to reimage one right here or reload, it doesn't necessarily have to go to a server somewhere. It doesn't have to go God knows where on server and get this information. It doesn't have to. It can actually get this information from number 3 or number 5, because these computers have this information stored locally on the same network. You see that? For faster access. And that's what's happening here. And you can also use these computers as backups of the profiles that we talked about. So remember, when we do a reload, we can do a profile. When we do a reload on the computer, we can keep that profile, and that profile is actually backed up on any of these computers. It's a random computer. Here, sorry, my drawing is terrible here. Here. These can have profiles, right? These can have profiles stored on them for faster access. So that's what's happening in the background. Now, you can actually do a bulk install. So you can, if you have host names already, so you get host names from the domain, that you're going to name these computers, because you got to have them host names. And this is when it's brand new computers. What the scenario what I talked about here, if they're already existing on the network. They're already on the network in the sense that they already are in production. But if they're brand new computers, you can literally do something like this. You get the host names, computer 1, comma, computer 2, comma, and then depending on the system I use, I can literally just use these computer host names for these specific serial numbers. So even if it's a brand new computer that has never been assigned a host name, you can assign these host names automatically to these specific serial numbers, which will at the same time will install the operating system. So you got computer, so you're telling the system, take computer 1, computer 2, computer 3. These are the host names, and I want you to use these host names on these computers that have serial numbers, this and that. And they also need to be connected to the network, obviously. So it's going to reimage them, and it's going to target these serial numbers, and these serial numbers is going to target them, and it's going to give them these host names, and also reinstall OS on them, or install, reload, or whatever it is that you're doing, update, and etc.